And welcome to another edition of East LA Sports Scene as we bring you more and more information, more and more news about the schools, the programs, the successes, the triumphs, sometimes the losses and the failures in our community. But we must tell the story in its entirety, and this time we're going to continue on a very, very good positive feedback note here, because with us in studio today, Coach Ricardo Rivas, the head coach, just completing his 5th year at Garfield. And we must say, what a year it was. We followed the Bulldogs most of the year and then heavily into the playoffs. And we want to welcome you back, Coach. Even though the season's over, physically it's over, mentally you're preparing now for another new year. But let's celebrate and let's talk about the huge success of this year's 2010-2011 Garfield boys varsity basketball team. And Coach, always a pleasure to have you with us.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Rico.
Coach, let's get right into it, because some of the highlights, they go in with the lowlights, as they say. But at the end, there's always another part of that story that people don't know about, but it was a very important tool, a learning tool for you. Definitely. And let's talk about the Bulldogs from day one last year to the recent conclusion of the season.
Yeah, sure. Day one, it was almost a year ago that I had my 2009-2010 varsity team complete a successful season, got second in league, and I had my top 8 players graduate. My starters, and then first 3 off the bench. So coming back, I knew I had Julian Sandoval and David LaRue. But after that, I wasn't sure what we were going to have. So to start the season, we didn't have much, especially as far as experience. But I knew that David and Julian both were hard workers and could get the job done. I just didn't know that it would be this successful.
Well, 2/5 of the team, solid backcourt, your point guards, feeding off of each other, great chemistry. So, the generalship was going to be good. You had to fill the center and your wings.
Right.
And let's talk how you got those players.
Our center, Joe Joaquin, he came out of nowhere because we weren't even sure he was going to play. Going into the season, he had only made 1 summer league game due to school and church and other activities that he was in. So first thing, when we got back from school, we had a conversation, and he said he really wanted to play, and I challenged him to basically dedicate himself to basketball, and boy did he come through. He had a great season, and he's a junior, so we're gonna have him back. Our wings, we had Mauricio Camacho was starter. He had played, I believe, junior varsity the year before and some varsity. But then we had, we started with Renato Munoz. And I noticed that, actually I didn't, my coaching staff, Emilio Chavez, Henry Campos, and Rene Rodriguez, put in a bunch of time, along with Nick Valencia and Romao Espinoza at the frost-off level. And they suggested we move up Frankie to Aguilar to varsity. I had a conversation with Frankie and during the summer, and we decided to move him up. He didn't. He wasn't feeling too comfortable because he was a new kid on the block, especially on the team that had already started summer. So he wanted to be moved back down. I only left him down for maybe 2 games at most, and I brought him back up. And he exploded especially the second half of the season. And again, he's a junior, so he'll be returning.
Wonderful.
Mauricio Camacho, he was just a monster on the boards. He would get the rebounds and do all the stuff that doesn't really get glorified, but he was definitely a key part to the team.
And you had to bring up, again, some of the underclassmen. You have Angel Camacho. We'll talk to him later. He's here tonight with some of the other players. But you were deep. When we saw how you were able to use and utilize your staff, your players, it was great, because it was a Bulldog press, the man-to-man full court from the Kentucky full court press. 32 minutes of the game. And that seemed to be your trademark, and the brand of ball that you played, because you were recipients of many turnovers that you forced because of that press, and it gave you guys a lot of big edges.
Yeah, we continued with the same system. Like I said before, my coaching staff is I would definitely rank it amongst the top in our league and even in the city. They're very dedicated, and they're former players. And so the kids, they were able to sell it to the kids, and the kids were able to buy into it. And it's all about conditioning. And we have a saying, the games are won when nobody's watching. And the kids during practice, the emphasis on that better defense and that tenacity for 32 minutes is definitely what won us a game. Definitely. We didn't have the size. Our center was 6'3" on a good day. So we depend on our press and our conditioning.
Well, Coach, it was a very, very strong effort because we didn't say at the top of the show in the introduction, but the accolades that are now headed your way as the coach of the Garfield boys varsity team are going to be, I want to say, very, very important and historic, because you guided the team, you and the coaching staff guided this team, this young Bulldog team, to the state tournament. And that's never, ever, at least all the years I've covered sports in East LA, it's never been done. So that in itself is a huge, huge benefit and windfall for you.
You know what? It was like I said from the beginning. This team surprised a lot of people. And we knew going into the season as a coaching staff, we knew that they worked hard. But with Julian and LaRue's leadership to lead us to state with basically no returners. We had nobody coming back. Yeah. Literally, I mean, was huge, and it's a lot has to do with their work ethic and their leadership, both on the court and in the classroom.
Coach, you and your colleague at school, Coach Lorenzo Hernandez, seem to have bought into the philosophy that during our preseason, let's play better teams. Let's go against, as they say, the big boys,
right.
the premier or the elites, whatever you want to call them, the 6'8", the 6'9", the well-equipped teams at guards, forwards, and centers. Right. And you say, let's take them on.
Yeah.
Early, get ourselves better. Hey, we may get, bounced around a little bit, but at the end, it's going to give you that character.
Definitely.
Okay, and let's talk about how you were able to channel that into the Eastern Conference, going 11-1, and then a strong run into the city championship playoffs. Yeah. Okay, let's do that.
You know what? We early in the season we knew we had to put the kids into a lot of tournaments just because it wasn't an experienced team. So the coaching staff sat together and we looked at the different tournaments that were around, and credit a lot of the players really bought into the system of, hey, it doesn't matter how tall they are, it doesn't matter how big they are, hard work's going to win out in the end. We started with we played in a Price LA Price tournament. Okay. And I believe we lost to Price by 1 or 2. We ended up playing San Pedro, was a defending Division II city champs, and we beat them. Okay. And I think what really opened our eyes was when we went to the Hart tournament. It's an off-season tournament at Hart High School, and we played La Cañada, and we took them all the way to the end and lost by 2. Okay. They ended up finishing, making it to the semifinals of the state this year in our division. Good. Okay. So playing those teams definitely helped, and getting them that experience, and credit the kids again.
Plus a tournament out of state.
Yeah.
Early in the season too.
Early in the season.
Florida, is that where you guys went?
Yeah, okay. We played some top schools in the country out there. Didn't do too well. I think the kids were too much on vacation mode, but I think it opened their eyes to how hard we really need to work in order to be successful. Okay, so that takes care of the preseason, and now it's time to open up the conference. In the Eastern Conference, of course, Jordan, Roosevelt, Southgate, Bell, Huntington Park, and talk about how that went, because now the motor is really, really refined. It's purring. It's great. The engine's on, and you're taking care of all your opponents. What happened going into league is I had mentioned to the kids that they had ranked us 4th or 5th in league preseason because we lost so many kids. But fortunately for us, our guards made us go. We looked at everybody else in the league and figured that we had the best guards, and so we started pressing. We started off with Southgate right off the bat, who was chosen to come in 2nd place in the league. They had their top 5 players back from the year before. And the press really helped. We got in their face and took it to them. Then we continued on with Bal at Garfield. They had at Bal. They were supposed to come in first place.
Okay.
They had a lot of size, and once again, the press, we were able to get those steals early, get a big lead, and even though they made a run at the end, we had a big enough lead to fight them off.
And that's always the situation when you do build up a lot of points off turnovers because of the press to get a little not lackadaisical at the end of the game, but you've got to get other players in to give them that game experience.
Right.
And that's where the character comes in. And so here you go all the way looking for an undefeated conference play at 12-0. But the Roosevelt game.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that because you learned a lesson.
Oh, definitely. And you know what? We went into the game thinking, you know what? If we stop one player, our chances will be really great at winning that game. Unfortunate for us, that one player, we didn't stop him and had a great game. Allen.
Okay.
Allen had a huge game. Great kid too. Hats off to him, and he just played huge.
Okay.
And it helped. It definitely helped us going into playoffs because it gave our players a motivation to work hard and succeed.
Okay, 11-1, an outstanding record in conference, and here we go with the playoff run. And first up, we go with Poly. And very, very typical game. You killed them with the press, but they came back. They came back at the end. Okay.
That game, we had a huge 18-point lead. We sat our starters. Joe Joaquin had dislocated his finger, so I had to snap it back. We didn't put him back in. We played the bench the whole second half. Our starters didn't get any minutes, and as a coach staff, we wanted to see what we had with our bench, and they played strong too, Paul.
And came away with the win, a resounding win against Poly, and then back to back. Well, right away, then Banning came in, and this is now very, very, as they would say, very good for the Bulldogs because you had home court advantage here as a higher seed.
Right.
Okay.
That was a good game. The principal at Banning was at Garfield before, and Garcia, Mr. Garcia. And so he came in with his team, and we kind of felt kind of like they took something away from us as a league because they didn't have a great season, but they were ranked higher than a lot of teams in our league. So we wanted to send a message. And that game, our starters just really took it to them, and we won pretty
convincingly. Then the nail biter. Round 3 of the playoffs, and you have to leave home and go out to Granton Valley. And that was a very, very important game. And a game that went down, like I say, a nail biter, went down to the very end.
We played Grant for our preseason game, our scrimmage game. They blew us out by over 25 points at Grant High School. So going into the game, we knew what they had. We were missing a few starters when we played them at Grant. And our kids were really motivated to come out and play that game for the simple fact that we felt we weren't given the credit that we deserved. And with 2 seconds left, I can't remember who. Oh, it was Renato Munoz took the ball in, and we won.
All right. And that set the stage for the finals.
Finals.
And now that's moved to a neutral court, of course, because it had to be played at the Edward Roybal Learning Center, just where it was the former Belmont High School, but a great venue.
Oh,
sold out.
Great,
A great atmosphere for both teams to play in. And unfortunately, it just first half, I think, the first 3 quarters, very close game, and then I believe their player got on a hot streak. And kind of pulled them away just a little bit at the end.
Derek Hector from Chatsworth just had a great game, and unfortunately we couldn't hit our free throws, and ultimately that's what cost us the game. And Chatsworth, to credit them, they did a great job and hit some key shots.
But there is the scene from the CIF City section where the Garfield Bulldogs, coming out of nowhere, make it into the Division III final and lose to Chatsworth in a very, very close game. It could have went either way, again, based on certain factors in that game. But season is not over. No one's hanging their heads. You take the kids back to school post-game sessions with them. And next thing that happens, the CIF state tournament.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
called to play.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk about how you had to convey that to the team and the alumni, the school, the staff, everybody, because this is a brand new day again.
Yeah.
To go into the state
Yeah.
tournament in a very historic moment.
Yeah, it was tough. We came off the loss to Chatsworth. We got back home, and first thing we told the kids is, we in essence lost the game by missing so many free throws. But we knew we had played during the summer. We had played some top teams, La Cañada being one of them, and taking them to down to the wire. And La Cañada was ranked number 1, I believe, in Division III at the time.
Yeah.
And seeing the standings, it wasn't too hard to sell to our players. As far as the staff and students, they've always been behind us since day one. They would come to the games and even practices and just check out what's going on. We have a real strong supporting staff at Garfield with Coach Hernandez, our AD, Memo Gonzalez, and they were really helpful in getting us what we need, whatever we needed, along with our principal, Jose Huerta.
And in that state playoff, only the strong survive. As they say, you win, you must move on.
Yeah.
You lose, you got to go back home. But tremendous lesson learned because you played Harvard Westlake,
Yes.
one of the top 25 LA Times and throughout the country, a very ranked team. And again, holding your own in spite of the odds, in spite of the size difference.
Yeah.
But the Bulldogs were very focused, fought hard all the way to the very end.
Yeah.
And at the end of that
Right.
game, a big round of applause from the staff, students that were there, student body, and the administrators, and of course East LA Sports Team. We couldn't do the
Right.
game, but we certainly were
Right.
there to cheer you and the kids on. But we want to say a tremendous season. We kind of recapped it just talking in verbal fashion. We're going to show some of the highlights throughout the program tonight, Coach, and we're going to talk to the players that you brought along with you. But again, we want to bring you back. We're going to close out with you giving us some more information about the season of 2011
Great.
coming
No
up.
problem.
Okay, we're going
Thank
to take
you,
a
Coach.
quick
Appreciate
break. We're speaking with Coach Ricardo Rivas. We've just recapped the 2010-2011, one of the most outstanding seasons of all times for the Garfield Bulldogs, and especially so because they were in the state tournament. And it's never been done before. So we're going to continue now and bring some of the players on and get their feedback and get their just their feelings about having played on this year's team. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And here we are. Welcome back to our second part of the program. We're going to be talking to the seniors and soon-to-be graduates of Garfield High School. But at the controls, at the point guard position, David LaRue. Good to see you again, Dave.
Good to see you, too.
Okay, and your partner, your running partner here, Julian Sandoval. Good to see you
Good to
again.
see you, too, sir.
Okay, smiles are still good.
Yeah.
Feelings are still very
course.
powerful for you because of your accomplishments and the accolades that have come in for you, and just the feeling of having gone to played a great season, and at the end you go to the state tournament. Let's get your feelings, David, first on what kind of a season it was for you, because you had so many things going on. But on the court, you took care of business, and then we're going to talk about your academic things. But your thoughts first.
Okay, I mean, it seemed nice, like the entire season, right? But we can't say that it wasn't frustrating at the beginning. I mean, we started off summer league losing, like we were on an eight-game losing streak, and I was getting home frustrated and talking to Jillian, thinking about how we can improve, what we can do to like better the team, and it was definitely frustrating.
Okay.
And we weren't sure that we were going to have a great season.
Okay.
But we knew that we were willing to do whatever it took to get where we got at the end.
Okay. Well, you're persistent. You got and you talked. You communicated. You talked to your classmates, your teammates, and your coaches, and then you went to work on the court. So that kept you busy, kept your mind on the season. And as you heard, we were talking about the preseason with Coach. Kind of 50-50, nothing great, nothing bad, but you were kind of forming a team. And then you get ready now for the conference. The past is the past in the preseason. Now you got to get ready for the conference because all bets are on.
Yeah.
Talk about that part now.
I mean, I'm definitely appreciative of our team, because although we weren't the most talented team to ever go to Garfield, that they're the hardest workers, and whatever I asked of them, they were willing to do because they knew that I was gonna ask, what it took to for them to be the best they can be.
Okay.
And,
Julian, now your turn. Let's talk about your involvement, your role on this team as a senior, because you're the shooting guard. You know Dave's style. He's going to penetrate, and if he doesn't have it, he's going to kick out. And you got the three-pointer. You got the regular two-pointer. You're going to take that yourself, or find somebody open underneath. Your thoughts now as you develop from the preseason into the conference time.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
well, me and LaRue been playing together since we were in elementary school,
Okay.
so we pretty much know how we play, but the hard part was getting to know all the guys,
Mm-hmm.
and preseason was tough because, especially at Orlando, like, we lost all the games, we didn't win any games, but
Mhm.
even though we lost, it was a good bonding experience. We got to know each other better,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how we played,
Okay.
everybody as people, and
Yeah.
it was a good bonding experience, and we became a better team after that.
And you worked on some things. You worked on that press. Even though you weren't winning games, you were using that time to get the court experience, put the mechanics together of working that press and getting some of the things worked out when you came back for the conference, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you're back and ready to go for the conference. And you know that you have just as good a chance as anybody else to win. Looking at the opponents, it was Jordan, it was Roosevelt. Your thoughts now as a conference play got underway?
All right, so
Okay.
coming into the season, we know everybody thought that we weren't gonna do so good,
Mm-hmm.
but we knew what we were capable of. We just knew that if we worked hard, we'd come out on top, and
Okay.
just got it done.
Okay. 11-1. Very, very proud of that record. Could have been
course.
12-0, right?
No, but I feel that we needed that last loss. As much as it hurt, as much as what was at stake, I feel that we needed that loss to go into the playoffs with the right mentality.
Okay.
And so,
Now, again, leadership, and there's leadership, and then there's more leadership. You displayed on the court, but personally and academically for yourselves, you accelerate beyond beyond the Richter scale at 4.5 on your averages. What's your key to academic success? How are you able to keep pace playing and studying?
I feel that I was just spoiled with like a best friend that can challenge me, you know?
Okay.
We challenge each other on the court and in the classroom and stuff. And so whenever I was feeling lit up, like whenever I wanted to just give up, he would be there to challenge me, and I'd have to rise up to you know.
Okay. And an article, a very good article came out just before the playoffs, I believe, in the LA Times, focusing not so much, on both, on the court, your accomplishments on the court, but in the classroom. Your thoughts about your grade point average, Julian, and how that's helping you now to get to the next phase of college.
Yeah, well, having good grades and being a hard worker is carried on from everything I do. Basketball, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Working hard is carried on in the classroom. Work
Yeah.
hard in the classroom, get good grades, go to college and have a better life.
Okay, and that's why we're sitting here right now, because one of the obvious questions I'm going to have to ask you is your application process, the SATs, and are you all ready to go into the college that may accept you or that you're looking to get accepted by?
Yeah, I've actually just sent my statement of intent to register to Berkeley. To
Wow,
UC Berkeley.
congratulations. Wow, okay,
Yeah, I also submitted my statement to UCLA.
okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Both of you have had a very, very good experience under Coach Rivas and his entire coaching staff. Your thoughts, just very briefly, on what they've meant to you as mentors, counselors, friends, to keep you who you are, keep your feet on the ground, keep you balanced. Your thoughts, Dave, on that?
I don't really think I could have appreciated it during the season. I had to see it as a whole from the end, you know. They kept us humble, and I think that was the biggest part of it. During the season, I thought like, man, why don't you let us celebrate? You know,
Yeah,
we're doing
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But thinking back now, I understand why they did what they did, and I got to thank them for that.
Okay. Julian?
Yeah, well, the coaches, they work so hard to get us where we are. I don't know. I don't think any other coaching staff in the district could have done what they did. I mean, they were there in the mornings, before school, after school, real late. Fundraising for everything.
Okay.
Putting up with everything we did. And just like being great coaches. And
Okay, we're going to do this real quick. I'm going to just give you the list of the playoffs, and your recap on Pauly, and I'll just go then to Julian for Banning. So now here we are, first round of the playoffs. You got Pauly at home,
Yeah.
big crowd. playoffs. This is it. Your thoughts on preparation and the game for Poly?
So we had just come off a loss, Roosevelt, right? And it shocked everybody. And so we were really hungry to come out, yeah? We were really, we went out to practice the following day, and we just knew what we wanted to do. And so we came out strong. We came out really strong. And then we had a big enough lead, and we overlooked them in the fourth quarter. Then they came back a little. And so we pulled it off. We still won, but we knew that we had to refine our game.
Okay. Julian for Banning.
So Banning, the game started, and they had one guy, their point guard. He had about, I don't know, it was 15, 20 points in the first quarter.
Yes.
We did a good job of locking him down, and that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Locked
All
him
right.
down, we won.
Okay. Now, Grant, then Chatsworth, Harvard Westlake. Real quick. Grant was a nail biter.
Yeah.
Went down to the last bucket at the end of the game. Your thoughts on that game?
Man, still gets me all nervous, you know. I just felt that we were capable to rise up to the challenge, you know. We walked in there, and then like the fans, they didn't think that we can, they didn't think that we belonged at their level, and we had everything to prove, and we had just talked with our teammates. Me and Julian had talked with our teammates, and we told them that, you know, we're here for a reason. The coaches made sure that we were confident in ourselves, and let us know that we're here for a reason and we can take it, and that's what we did.
All right. And then the Chatsworth was the final. You make it to the fourth and final game of the city Division III playoffs, and it's against Chatsworth. Tough game. Could have went either way had you made those free throws. But your thoughts on that game, Julian?
We started off pretty good, but I think one of the things was that we were kind of overwhelmed to be there. We know we belonged, but the atmosphere was, you know,
Full house.
yeah, full house.
Oh,
It's
my
like
goodness.
free throws. We missed about 15 free throws.
Yeah.
I don't know, a couple little things.
Okay. But nonetheless, that was the end of the so-called regular season playoffs in the city division, and then it was the state playoffs. Just your thoughts of associating now in history, in the history books. You'll be able to tell your children, your sons and daughters, you made it to the state playoffs
Yeah, of course.
as a Garfield Bulldog.
Yeah.
Okay? Pretty powerful, right?
Yeah, of course.
You encapsulate that for us, what it meant.
No, I'm overjoyed to be on a team with these guys. You know, I can actually step away from high school basketball and feel accomplished and not feel bad about it being my last year. You know, no regrets. We did an amazing job, I think, in my mind, and so I'm happy about that.
Julian?
Yeah, I also think we did an amazing job in state. Who thought we'd go to state? Nobody thought we'd even make it past the second round of playoffs. So. Going to state was-
In Harvard Westlake, they had their eyes wide open. What's going on here? They weren't sure of who they were playing, and it took a little while for it to sink in. But nonetheless, a great lesson learned, great experience for your underclassmen, the players that are coming back, like Frankie and Angel, who we're going to talk to next. We're going to get their opinions of the season as well. But from our perspective, from East LA sports scene, and what we were able to see and witness ourselves, we want to wish you the best in your academic career, and
Thank you.
Hey, you might see you on that walk-on list, okay, at Cal. Julian, same to you, my son. Success wherever you go, and keep balling. You got to keep that fire alive and play. And so whenever you come back, we'll be looking for you on the hoops side over at Garfield, or maybe somewhere at Salesian Boys Club, Hollenbeck Youth Center, ELAC, somewhere playing, because you got that love and passion for the game. Okay. Thank you, David LaRue and Julian Sandoval, the seniors that will be graduating with big, huge smiles on their faces and a great sense of accomplishment both on the court and in the classroom. We wish them nothing but the best. We'll be back with our two more players, Frankie Aguilar and Angel Camacho, to wrap things up, and then a final word from Coach Rivas. You're watching East LA Sports Scene. Okay, here we are for one of our final segments here for the evening. We're speaking about Garfield Bulldogs basketball, varsity basketball, and their climb to the top this season. What a tremendous run it was. And East LA Sports Team is very proud to have participated in doing the webcasts of the playoffs. And in spirit, we were there for the state tournament, but nonetheless, we covered as much as we could to bring the talents of both the team and the coaching staff and the school to the forefront. And now joining us here, Angel Camacho to my left, wearing his jersey number 22. Angel, good to see you again.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, and Frankie Aguilar. Okay, good to see you. Juniors now up until June, and then they'll start the fall as seniors, just as you saw Julian and David. They'll take their rightful positions on Coach Rivas' team as leaders. And guys, let's talk about this past season. What a run it was for you. A lot of hard sweat and tears, blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, putting in the time to get where you were at the end of the season. Let's go with you, Angel, what it meant at the beginning of that season. We'll go very quickly in, and then how you ended up in the state tournament.
Well, it was a great season. Well, it was mostly because our two leaders, David and Julian, even when we didn't have practice, they'll call us to go do some extra running and practice and work hard.
Okay.
It was all dedication. The team would show up, do whatever the captain told them to do. And we all worked hard. We did what we were asked to do.
Okay, now you were one of the first off the bench at the guard position because of the activity that the system has. You're very all out with full court pressure, so it's a lot of movement, a lot of rotation, but you always seem to be there when Coach Rivas called you, whether it was for defense or for offense.
Yes, sir.
Your role now is you'll change into a senior for next year's team.
Well, we're going to try to do the same thing as David and Julian did, try to work hard and make everybody work hard so we could be a better team together. Just work on defense, on team role play.
Okay.
Just play together.
And Perro defense, full court press to Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
That's a staple. That's a brand of Garfield basketball. And your thoughts, Frankie, on having to play 32 minutes basically of full court press and then get back on offense and transition. So you've got to be in good shape the whole season, right?
Well, we practice a lot off season as well. We ran a lot. We ran a lot.
Okay.
You know, when we didn't have to practice, we still came in with them. Called us in, like Angel said. You know, we just worked hard and we were ready and determined to win. We already knew what we wanted to do.
Okay.
We reached that goal and we came out short, but it's all right.
Now, your stature on the team, you're a wingman. You're going to need to pick up that scoring. Okay, whether it's going to be from your mid-range jumper, three-pointers. Scouting reports will say, oh, Frankie Aguilar, yeah, he's the slasher on Garfield. Will you change some of your game now in the offseason or do something to work with the coach's desires for next season?
Well, I try to get most of my teammates involved. You know, it's not a one-man team, you know. I got a lot of good players coming back, and we got a lot of good players. I have faith in them, you know. So we're all cool together. So we know each other for a while. You know, it's like we got like 7 returners coming back, so we know how to play with each other.
Absolutely.
It should be good.
And it looks like you're going to be set in the middle with Joe Joaquin. Had himself a tremendous season.
Really good season.
Okay, it seemed like you guys are feeding off of him, and of course the guard play. But Joe was undersized as a center, but he led a lot of teams, beat a lot of teams in rebounding just himself.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you're in conference play early in January, and you got to go through the Eastern Conference. Are you guys thinking playoffs then, or are you thinking that we can handle ourselves in conference, and then see where the chips fall?
Well, since the beginning of the season, everybody wanted to go to the playoffs. We all wanted to. We set up some goals before we started the season, and our main goal was to go to the championship game and win it.
Okay.
Well, we came up short, but at least we accomplished our goal.
Yeah. The goal of a team character, a team brand that you got now with Garfield, the opponents now in the Eastern Conference are going to look at you a little different next season.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on preparing for that?
We can't take each team lightly, you know. They're going to come out hard as well. We're going to come out hard to fight with them, you know, play. We can't take them lightly, that's all I can say.
Okay.
Work harder than what they are. Can't
All right.
get our work.
Now, fast forward, here we go to the playoffs. Pauley, Banning, Grant, and Chatsworth. You all both played lots of minutes for Garfield. Your thoughts in looking back on it, how it built you up now with confidence for next season?
I got confidence because LaRue and Julian and all the starters knew what I could do, and they trusted me with the ball at the time when they were out. So I just wanted to do what I had to do to make us a good team.
Okay. Frankie?
I wasn't going to start this, you know. I worked hard, came out through, you know, show the coaches what I could do, and it came out successful, you know. I didn't do much, you know. I did pretty good. You know, it was most of my other squad, you know, that did real good. Joe, you know,
Okay.
LaRue, Julian.
Well, there's going to be a lot more guys coming up. I want to say is Willie Argueta coming up.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Okay, he's coming back, and then
We got Roy.
you got Jaime Leja. Is he going to be coming back?
Yeah.
So a lot of good returning players.
Richie.
Richie Castro. Okay, and Brian Salazar.
No,
He's
he's
a
graduating.
senior. Okay, so you got a nucleus,
Yeah.
something to work with. Okay, now state playoffs. You heard Coach Rivas say it's time to get back on the court. The season is not over, and Garfield has been picked to play in state tournament. When that news was broken to you, how did you feel?
I was happy because I had another chance to play with the seniors. I didn't want to go out with like a bad loss. It was just a great feeling because I grew up with David and Julian LaRue, David and Julian, and I didn't want to feel like ending them up with a bad season.
Okay, but again, a lot of experience.
Yeah.
At the state playoff. Okay, full, it was packed.
Yeah.
Your last two games are played before
That's what
standing
yeah.
room only. So, and then playing in a game like that, it's got to give you more of confidence and just preparation.
Yeah.
Your thoughts when you stepped on that court?
Well,
Frankie.
The Chatsworth game really got us. We got where we needed to go, but we didn't finish. And when they told us about the state playoffs, we gave us another chance. We were happy. We were ready to go.
Okay.
To prove ourselves wrong. A lot of people were doubting us. Apparently we didn't, but we worked hard. We left it all we got. We left it all.
All right, you got a little bit more work to do. You got to finish up this semester. Finals are coming up. There's the proms and all the social things, and then the graduations. But it doesn't stop. You got to get in some summer leagues or
right
spring
after-
leagues and stay busy. Correct.
Right after that state playoff, we went back straight to practice.
Okay.
Yeah, we practiced.
Stuff
Okay.
ready, let's run.
All right. Okay, so the coaches will get you into these at least the summer leagues,
Some leagues.
to prepare you, and then you have summer off, and then get ready to go in the fall.
Yeah.
That's about it. I think I've covered what I wanted to ask you here about your experiences of playing in a very, very just
Awesome environment.
but again, a very wholesome environment for the team because you're taking all this back. No other team from East LA could claim that, and that's why you stand out, and that's why all the accolades that you've earned this year are merited, and you got a price to pay. They're going to be watching you.
Yeah.
Okay, those opponents out there are going to come looking for those Bulldogs, and you'll have to have something for them when they arrive at Bulldog Gymnasium. So, Angel Camacho, thank you for coming in. Okay, Frankie
Thank you,
Aguilar,
sir.
thank you very much. You have heard the seniors speak, and now the underclassmen, soon to be seniors, Angel Camacho, Frankie Aguilar here for Garfield. We're going to come back just to close things out with Coach Ricardo Rivas. You're watching East LA Sports Scene. Okay, back with us to close things out, Coach Ricardo Rivas, and we've had a tremendous opportunity to really speak to Coach Rivas more, as they say, away from the court setting, kind of just kicking back, talking about the season, recapping, and looking forward to 2011. And, Coach, thank you for coming and bringing these outstanding student-athletes here to East LA Sports, and we commend you highly. And, of course, please convey our pride to your coaching staff as well for working with our kids and the young ones here in East LA. But, Coach, as they say, it never ends. Your work is just beginning, and they say the targets and the X's are on the front and back of you. But let's go to that in just a moment because we want to, again, just take us back to, say, the team banquet and how that was and the sense of accomplishment and pride that you had there when you sat down after the season with the team.
Actually, we haven't had our banquet yet. We're going to have it May 27th.
Oh, okay.
So that's
All right.
what we're looking for.
Okay.
And right now we're just editing video to create a little end of the year video or to send the seniors off.
Okay.
And that's where we're at right now.
Well,
preparing.
at that preparation and
Yeah.
planning for that, it's going to be not just, as they would say, your average banquet because you've got so much of the accolades that came in for you. The city,
Right.
playing in the championship game, being asked to go to the state tournament as well. So those two things are certainly going to have impact. at the
Definitely.
banquet.
David LaRue was a all-city player this year, and we had a number of all-league players and league MVPs. And, so it's a lot to plan. It
Okay.
definitely is.
Okay.
But,
Well, May 27th, we want to put that out there. So,
Yeah.
okay. Now, the work at hand, you've got your JVs, you had freshmen, you're looking at other players stepping up.
Right.
Let's talk about the cast of players that will be on the Bulldogs next year.
We have Cesar Roldan, I believe, who will be moving up to varsity. Joe Joaquin, our leading scorer, rebounder, will be back. We have Richard Castro, definitely a strong guard. So we're going to be pretty exciting next year.
Okay.
We just want the team to keep working, and it starts in practice.
Okay, Frankie Aguilar, Angel Camacho, we mentioned Willie Argueta, Jaime Leja, some other players maybe coming in?
Coming in, yes.
Bigger players maybe, or point guards?
Caesar is one of our bigger players. We also have Andrew, who played JV. We might have he's a freshman now, and he'll be a sophomore later. We're debating whether to move up Joel and Anthony. So
Okay.
we're going to be strong. Roy got moved up for playoffs, did a
Yes.
fantastic job. So
Okay.
we'll hopefully be as competitive as
Okay.
this year.
And looking into the window of opportunity for travel next year, tournament-wise, anything special coming up?
We're still talking about that. They usually decide. It's up to them. Sometimes they want to stay local just because it's a huge expense. Last year we were able to get some of our players some jobs so that they can save up during the summer, and we're able to go. This year we're not as fortunate, so we're still looking to see if we can get the kids some jobs to travel.
Okay. All right. Coach, always I leave for you last words. Anything to the community, anything to our watchers, our viewers on EastLASportsScene.com.
Definitely. Just want to say thank you to everybody who followed us throughout the season. East LA Sports Team. I can watching Rico and Sid Garcia back in the day. To this day, I see Eric Sarney's pictures up on football and basketball every once in a while, and they're on the kids' Facebooks and stuff. And just a huge thank you to everything you do for the community, Rico. I think it needs to everybody should know about it and support the program because it helps these kids see that there's a future outside of high school and East LA.
Okay.
So thank you for everything, my wife and
Okay.
and my two kids, and just thanks for the support. Really
Okay.
appreciate it.
Coach, it's, as I say, Mutual Admiration Society. We always thank you. You are in such a great position to help our kids and mentor them and develop them correctly and properly so they can get to that next level in life. Get that degree, get to college, and then become a professional, and then come back to the community.
Our
later
coaching
on
staff.
At some point in time.
That's what I love so much about our coaching staff. They're not just on the court, but off the court. They mentor these kids: Emilio, Henry, Romao, Rene, Manuel Cortinas, Joseph Valencia. They all are huge asset to the Garfield basketball program and community in general.
Okay, Coach Ricardo Rivas, thank you, muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Coach, for giving us all the time whenever we've asked you to step forward and talk about your program. You've done so very masterfully and professionally and just gentlemanly. We thank you. It's been the trademark of our relationship with the Garfield Bulldog programs, both football and basketball. We want to continue to keep that going and just make it better.
Thank you so much, Rico.
Okay.
Appreciate the support.
All right. Coach Ricardo Rivas, thank you very much again. And to the players, Julian Sandoval, David LaRue, Frankie Aguilar, and Angel Camacho, keep your eye on the Bulldogs for next season. And we're going to get word back from Frankie and, from Julian and Dave as to how they're doing in their freshman year of college. They won't be able to get too far away from us here, okay, at East LA Sports Scene. So thanks for watching, and until we're together again for our next edition of East LA Sports Scene, remember, stay in shape. Get out there and get that workout in. Si se puede. You can do it, okay? To stay healthy, you will be wealthy. Take care until we're together again. Thank you again to Eric Sarney producing and directing tonight, and to our Garfield High School varsity team for being here tonight, and led by Coach Ricardo Rivas. Take care. See you next time.